Hello, I am so happy you are watching this video right now because what I'll be sharing is some absolutely sensational information with you. If you're a woman, then you are actually at the right place and at the right moment. And I don't believe it's just by chance that you have to watch this video right now. I am Dr. James Georter. I am a medical doctor. And I don't know what it feels like when you're menstruating. I'm not a woman. But one thing I know is I've consulted more than 2,000 women in that particular position. And I know it can be very challenging. I'm talking about the hormone balance, the hormone changes associated with the mood swings. I'm talking about the bumps that come up on the face. I'm talking about the severe menstrual cramps that at times prevent you from having a good night's sleep. I'm talking about the discomfort you have around your vagina and your reproductive area. It can be really challenging. But what most of you don't know is that the solution to that is something very simple, just your sanitary napkin. Talking about sanitary napkin, I understand many of us, we have been brought to choose or recommend sanitary napkins to patients without actually knowing what it was all about. These sanitary napkins came in 30, 40, 50 years ago as a solution to help women to be included in their natural economy. But today we are discovering that it is causing more harm than good. And worse still, the quality of the sanitary napkin, nobody has ever really taken time to study. And this is the cause of many of the gynaecological problems that we have today. Now, talking about gynaecological problems, I myself as a doctor, I didn't know that sanitary napkins were dangerous. Through my medical education, even after 45 years, I had no idea. But recently, I came to read a study by the World Health Organization on more than 235,000 women all over the world. And it was said out of every 100 women that goes to the hospital, approximately 82% of them are going to be complaining of a gynecological problem. And somewhere between 60 to 73% of all these gynecological problems have been directly attached to the poor quality of sanitary napkins. I know when we are talking of poor quality of sanitary napkins, many won't even understand what I'm talking about. Yes, after that study, a good number of criteria have been enumerated in order to determine whether a sanitary napkin is considered safe for use. Sanitary napkins can be more than just cushion. They can also serve, they can also have medical purposes. A good sanitary napkin has to be absorbent. A good sanitary, by the way, that's the first purpose why we put them on. They need to absorb. The second, they have to be made of cotton. The third, they have to be therapeutic. And the last, they have to be breathable. I guess that sensation of heat that we usually have down there, it's really discomforting. Therefore, a sanitary napkins have to be breathable. So, right now, what I'll be doing is a small experiment, a small comparative description of what a good sanitary napkin is supposed to look like. I have a demo kit that consists of a classic sanitary napkin that we get in the market. This represents any sanitary napkin, independent of where you get it. Europe, USA, the most sophisticated pharmacies, supermarkets, or everywhere. 95% of sanitary napkins available on the market are of poor quality. So during this demonstration, I'm going to be using water and this tool set to mimic the women that are bleeding. So to start with, these are the sanitary napkins from the market. This is an ideal sanitary napkin which I'm presenting to you, which is Angel Money. It comes in these three different formats. You have the day sanitary napkin for those that bleed normally. You have the night sanitary napkin for those that have heavy bleeds. And you have the pant liners. What is peculiar about these pant liners is that it's for women of all ages, including babies. And also, it has a very important therapeutic role in men. So, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to use the day part. That's the look at this is how it presents. It's conceived such that you can open and close in order to prevent dirt from getting into the sanitary napkin. And it comes in this stylish and unique design that is covered with aluminium foil. still for the purpose of eliminating any plastic associated and to help you to be able to drop in your bag and prevent any contamination or whatsoever. So here I'm going to expose the sanitary napkin on our demonstration board. So this is our Angel Moon sanitary napkin. That's the normal bleed. This is, we shall call this part X. So I'll just tear the plastic covering. Notice it's a plastic covering. You can notice the surface of the sanitary napkin. You can notice it has its roll. Let me open here. We shall call this Y. Let me just expose this like this. Okay. So suppose we have 3 women. One using Angel Moon, which I consider to be a safe sanitary napkin. The next is this one, which I consider X, and this one, which I consider Y. Each woman is going to bleed between 30 to 40 cc's of blood during a normal cycle. But maybe due to stress or hormone imbalance, she could bleed, or even fibroids, she could bleed more. So for the purpose of this demonstration, we are going to exaggerate to 60 cc's. So let me spread. This is what happens on the normal cycle. The woman bleeds and she bleeds and she bleeds and she bleeds. I'm going to do same for the woman that is using part X. I'll assume she's bleeding up to 60 cc's of blood. Then you see it takes a longer time to get into the sanitary, into the absorbent core. And I'll do exactly the same for part Y. And I will try to mimic what happens during the normal cycle of this woman. After bleeding, the woman is not just going to be standing. She will have to carry on her normal activities, go to work, she will have to sit, and during that process, she will be exerting a lot of pressure through her buttocks on the sanitary napkin. So here I'm going to mimic exactly what happens during that process. So I'm going to press here with some pressure, and we notice that the woman putting the sanitary X and sanitary Y is completely wet, and X is so wet that it has actually destroyed our tissue paper. And on the other side, we notice that the woman putting on Angel Moon sanitary napkin is completely dry. This is something very simple, but it has a heavy importance. Why? Because what is coming back as unabsorbed blood is not just blood, it's rejected blood from your uterus. And it doesn't just go back as blood, it's going to mix with some fecal material from the inner canal, mixed with bacteria, and when it goes back up, in the long run, it's going to cause a lot of infections. Another thing that is going to happen is that bad rejected blood is going to be fought by your uterus. Your stomach, your uterus is going to do everything to send it outside. And that is the main cause of all the endometrial, the menstrual cramps that women will have. And also, studies have even revealed that some of the live tissue on that bad blood is going to go back up and is going to cause endometriosis. So what I am doing right now is that I am trying to dissect this sanitary napkin so we have a better understanding of what these sanitary pads are made up of. So if you notice here, this is the first layer of part Y. It's a purely synthetic material. It's plastic, and plastic is not skin friendly. This is the same for part X. It's also plastic. It's very rough. It's not skin friendly. So when the woman is going to use such a pad, there will be a lot of friction with her vagina and her vulva, so the discomfort will just be so much. And these substances contain a lot of allergic materials that is going to lead to frequent inflammation and the pain and the discomfort that they have there. While on this side, we notice that it's a pure cotton layer with several interlocking pores that permit blood to go through, but the blood can't come back. And since it's cotton, it's skin friendly, it's purely organic, so the woman is not really going to feel that there is anything in contact with her skin, and therefore she will have a better experience during her cycle. So another peculiarity about this part is this functional band. It's the therapeutic core of our sanitary napkin. This the Angel Moon has an original production quality since 2007, and the standards have been maintained. This functional band contains negative ions, it contains far infrared, it contains magnetic clips, and it contains nanosilver, which confers a double antibacterial effect. The negative ions increase blood flow around the uterus and is anti-stress, anti-odor, the mood swings that we usually have, they will be stopped, and the hormonal balance is going to be well improved. So after doing this, I'm going to go on to compare the different layers. What I'll do is that I'll try to get a piece of this layer. If you notice, it looks like cotton. The cotton, the absorbent layer of part Y. I'll do exactly the same. I'm going to cut a piece of part X. That's the absorbent core, and I'll get exactly the same for Angel Moon. That's the other layer, and we are going to see what it's made of. What do we notice? It completely dissolves. This is very horrible. I'm sure most of you won't understand, but I will tell you today. Exactly the same for part X. It completely dissolves. This is another important process. It's not cotton. It's actually paper debris. And this paper debris is simply the recycled papers that we see people getting from dust pits all the time. And when it is ground, it produces a paste, a black paste. That paste cannot be used to produce sanitary napkins. So it is whitened through several procedures with chlorine. And that chlorine will lead to the production of toxic substances like dioxin. What we don't know is that it's one of the most dangerous pollutants that we can have. And after 7 to 11 years of using sanitary napkins and accumulating dioxin in our body, we are bound to have so many hormonal problems. The fibroids, the cancers, and all the chronic problems that we can imagine, they come from these poor sanitary napkins. While on the other side, if you notice, Angel Moon is made purely of cotton, so it doesn't dissolve. Like our clothes, cotton doesn't dissolve in water, so its form is completely normal. So right now what I'll do is that I'll remove all the components of the first 3 layers, and I'm going to put them in their respective cups so that we are going to see what the last layer is made of. I'll do exactly the same for part X, and I'll do the same for Angel Moon. I'm sure many of you will be wondering what absorbed that much. Is this substance here? It's technically engineered wood fiber that is expected to absorb up to 20 times the volume. So many parts are trying to adopt a similar model, but it's made of silicon, and silicon today has also been found to be cancerous. So if you look at this last layer, it's purely plastic. Today, plastic is being banned in many countries. It's an issue with regards to our climate. But here, plastic is used in a woman's private parts. What this plastic will do is that, first of all, it doesn't let air pass through. So when a woman puts on a sanitary napkin with this kind of constituent, it's very hot and very uncomfortable. Then the next thing is that it's because of this heat that we have a lot of bacteria that multiplies in that sanitary napkin. And at the end of the day, we have a change in color of the blood, and also it smells a lot. This is the cause of whatever discomfort you might have down there. You notice that part X is exactly constituted the same, it's still plastic. But on Angel Moon, what you are going to notice is that there are several holes on the sanitary napkin, and this is for the purpose of breathing, to permit air to go through. And when that air goes through, it's difficult for bacteria to multiply in that atmosphere. 2.1 million bacteria is good. 2.1 million bacteria will multiply every 2 to 4 hours in this plastic kind of environment. But with this air, it's difficult to have that. And furthermore, the woman is going to really feel comfortable. That is why I said, putting on the Angel Moon sanitary napkin, you will have the sensation that you are not even bleeding when you are adding up all its therapeutic properties and all what we have. So we have confirmed all the 4 criteria. First of all, it is highly absorbent. Second, it is made of cotton. Third, it is therapeutic. And the fourth, it is breathable. Now, the woman that puts on napkin Y is completely wet, while the woman that puts on napkin X, exactly the same. Whereas the woman that puts on angel moon sanitary napkin is completely dry. That's completely absorbed. So right now you have the information available to you, and I hope you make the right choice for your own health, for your own comfort. But the days where a woman will have to suffer during her period, what are the days where she will have to feel that she will feel tired or being unable to do her job? And better still, we have the panty liners for all women that have chronic problems. The panty liners are very important because putting them on constantly during your period is going to be a very it's important for women at menopause and men. We shall talk about this in another video, so just contact the person that gave you this video for more information. I am Dr. James Georter.